A while ago I made a video about the classic Sonic games, however, I only spoke about Sonic 1, 2, CD, 3, and Knuckles. There actually exists another classic Sonic game that I did not mention in my video. That Sonic game being, of course, Sonic 3D Blast. Sonic 3D Blast was released in 1990-something for the Sega Saturn. What's that? You don't know what the Sega Saturn is? That's probably because Sega forgot to tell everybody that they were releasing it. They just showed up at E3 one year and told everyone that it was coming out.
Our rollout of Sega Saturn yesterday. We're at retail today at 1,800.
Look at this commercial. What were they thinking when they made this thing? Who were they trying to target with this? The girl here looks like the same lady from the Teenage Negasonic Warhead music video. Do you know how their commercials end? The Sega Saturn ball comes at you and yells, "Sega!" on the top of his lungs. What the heck type of that is this thing? Why is the ball yelling at you? Why does he have the safety pin driven through his nose? Look at how expensive these games are. If you want to play Sonic 3D Blast on the Sega Saturn, first you have to buy the game for $80, and then when it arrives you go, wait a minute, I don't have the Sega Saturn. So then you have to go out and buy the Sega Saturn for $80 more, so in total it costs $160 to play this version of the game. Thankfully, they put this out on the Sega Genesis, so it costs considerably less to play it that way. The game itself is fine. The biggest complaint in general is that it's a 3D game on a 2D console, but honestly, I don't really have a problem controlling Sonic. He's slippery at times, but that's not a big problem. Given that this came out on the Sega Genesis, you gotta admire the fact that they managed to get a 3D game running on this thing. The music is nice, and a lot of the zones have similar designs to the other classic Sonic levels. The most interesting thing by far is that if you shake the cartridge, you manage to unlock a secret level select screen. How anybody found this out is beyond me. The other classic Sonic game that I didn't talk about in my last video was Knuckles Chaotix. This game introduced Charmy Bee to the series. Look at him, he's a cool little bee guy. I'm actually quite a fan of the Chaotix. There's a ROM hack for the Genesis called Sonic Classic Heroes, which lets you play as the Chaotix. If you pick Vector, you can do this little air dash, which is fun. Look at how drastically this guy's design changed over the years. He went from this slim, music-loving lizard to this bulky jock who's trying to swoon Cream the Rabbit's mom. By the way, did you guys know that Vector is actually Christian? It's only ever mentioned in the Japanese manual for the game, but it's still something very interesting worth noting. Anyways, Charmy is incredibly broken in Sonic Classic Heroes. He can air dash as much as he wants with zero cooldown. Espio is just sort of there though, he doesn't have any cool features besides changing colors. I hope these guys are playable again someday. I'd love to see a spin-off game with these guys, or as a DLC to something like Sonic Mania. For some reason, they decided to include Mighty the Armadillo, who was a playable character in SegaSonic the Hedgehog, an arcade game released in 1993. He seems like a weird choice for the game, especially since Ray the Flying Squirrel isn't in it. What's even weirder is that there are two characters from this game who have never appeared again, those being Heavy and Bomb. I found out about these guys in a Sonic fan game. They're robots that turned on Dr. Eggman that have never appeared again in the series. The final boss in this game is Metal Sonic, which is pretty cool. He has a brand new form that was actually referenced in Sonic Mania. I had no idea that they got this from Knuckles Chaotix. Now, what if you want to play this game? Well, this game has never received an official re-release, so first you're gonna have to go out and buy a Sega Genesis. Now, that's gonna cost you around $70. Then you gotta find the Sega CD, which was a disc drive add-on for the Sega Genesis. It was a commercial failure when it came out, so that's why it's gonna cost you about another $100. Then you have to go out and buy the Sega 32X, which is gonna cost you another $100, and then you actually have to find Knuckles Chaotix, and when you do find it, it's gonna cost around $130. So at the end of it all, you're paying $400 to play Knuckles Chaotix. So, is the game any good? How the heck should I know? What do you think, I'm made of money?